He had a terrible September. I don't know. And to his credit, he's not making excuses. The excuses may be coming from his manager about COVID, about the hamstring, about all these different things that go on during the season. But to his credit, Gerrit Cole did not say any of that stuff. He basically took ownership of what was his worst outing ever in the postseason, and one of his worst outings ever, I'm sure, over the last 4 or 5 years. But he has been declining, since September started, and here we are in October, and all he needed was to go out there and just do, 5 or 6 innings, kind of like Nathan Eovaldi did. And I'm telling you, he was all over the place.
Yeah, he didn't have it from the start.
He was all over. You could just feel it.
And A-Rod's talking about how he's buzzing Red Sox players on purpose. I didn't see it like that. I saw that he didn't have any control.
Honestly, I turned that off and listened to the radio.
Did you?
I just couldn't take it anymore. Honestly,
he didn't annoy me as much last night because I was just annoyed by the way the Yankees were playing more than what A-Rod was saying, I guess. But
I will say that Stanton almost had 3 home runs last night.
But that's right. I mean, that's the difference, though. I mean, think about those balls that were going out for Stanton the last time the Yankees saw the Red Sox up in Fenway. Those 2 off the monster didn't. I mean, you're talking about
it's close.
A couple of feet here or there.
So close to having a 3 home run game. So Stanton now is not your problem. In past years, we've been here. We said Stanton was the problem. Right. Stanton's anything but the problem. He's everything that's great about the Yankees right now. And he had a couple that almost won it. I mean, just unbelievable that first one didn't go out.
Well, the one in the 6th inning was the killer. I mean, the only momentum that the Yankees had the entire night, because I don't even count the Stanton first inning, the one where
Joey Gallo did nothing.
Right. I mean,
Joey Gallo has done nothing.
And he ended up on first base. I don't even count that.
Right.
But the 6th inning, when Judge gets thrown out after Stanton hits another one off the monster, and this was a first guess. I don't send him with 1 out. I just don't. When you're down a couple of runs, I don't send him in that situation.
I think everybody that saw this, felt the same way you felt.
Yeah, and then this was a first guess. This was like, are you really sending him from first base on this with 1 out? When you're talking about you could be sitting there with, 2nd and 3rd and 1 out, I think down 2.
I think it was because of the carom off of the wall.
It was perfect for the outfielder. They played it perfectly.
Well, it was the center fielder came over and got it.
Right.
It wasn't the left fielder. The left fielder misplayed it. So there's a lot of things that are going on, and it's a split-second decision. And it turned out to be the wrong one. We all know that. We all understand what happened there. You watch baseball long enough, you know what's going on. But Bogaerts makes an unbelievable throw. But then again, that's what all-star players are supposed to do. That's why they get paid the big bucks, because they can make plays like that and make throws like that. And watching an ex-Met, put the tag on.
Well, yeah, and also
Aaron Judge.
He hit as well,
yeah, well, it's nice. I know. We only, our guys only come up big in the big moments.
Our guys. Okay, you're claiming Kevin Plawecki.
Well, whatever. No, but I just, in all seriousness, it was about as disappointing a performance. You get ready and you're just sitting there and you're waiting. You got the excitement going. And I'm not even a Yankee fan, but I'm excited for playoff baseball. And you love hanging on every pitch. And before you knew it, Cole was out of the game, and you could see him mouth it to Higashioka. I'm out. Yeah, of course you're out. And by the way, Clay Holmes did an unbelievable job.
I know.
So there were guys that really did their jobs, and there were guys that didn't show up at all. But I would say that Gallo is the biggest enigma. I mean,
I don't even think he's an enigma. I think we figured him out.
I mean, it's just brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely
A-Rod was blowtorch. I know you shut off A-Rod, but A-Rod was blowtorching Gallo. It was almost like he had an axe to grind with Joey Gallo.
Well, whatever he should have. He was brutal last night, and he was had opportunities again and didn't come through. There's a lot of discussion about what this Yankee team is going to look like next year. I know that's where fans are going to probably be coming from this morning, but. It basically comes down to your starting pitcher. We talked about it yesterday about how he had struggled in Boston anyway. He had struggled through the month of September, and then he struggled again last night.
Yeah, I know, but he still came out, down 3, and then Holmes comes in when you got first and second, nobody out. He gets out of that jam. Some of this has to go back on the offense as well. Now, I understand that they ended up tacking on, but in that 6th inning. I mean, they're just so close. They weren't walking. They weren't getting on base. They weren't making Eovaldi work. I mean, part of that's got to be on the offense. Like, come back, fight back. I mean, for crying out loud. I mean, the Washington Nationals jumped all over the Red Sox in a must-win game for them to be able to host this game and to avoid all that other stuff in the wild card on Sunday. I mean, they put up 5 runs in 2 seconds. Where is this Yankee offense when it counts the most? It's never there in the playoffs. Never.
It's never there in the playoffs, but I still go back to last Saturday. I go back to the Saturday against the Rays, and that lackluster performance. To me, that kind of set the tone for what this game was last night. And I know they came back and won on Sunday, and just barely won on Sunday, 1-0. But that Saturday game was the game that kind of like just took all the momentum away from what the Yankees had just accomplished by taking 3 from Boston, taking 2 out of 3 from Toronto, and they needed to take 2 out of 3 from Tampa. If the game is in Yankee Stadium and Cole was on the mound in Yankee Stadium, I believe it's a totally different situation. I really do.
Cole's been just so bad, though,
I know,
man.
But I believe in front of the Yankee fan, with the Yankee fans cheering for him. I mean, that's a raucous crowd up there. It's a tough place to play. I don't care who you are. And I think that loss on Saturday cost them the home field advantage for the game on Tuesday night. And I go back to the lackluster running of Gleyber Torres. I go back to the poor pitching of Jordan Montgomery. There was no offense that day either. And you look at a team that has a $70 million payroll, taking down your $210 million payroll team.
When they had nothing to play for.
When they had nothing to play for, and you're in your own building. Now, they did have something to play for. They did it. They knocked the Yankees out. The Yankees are out because they lost that game because they had to go to Boston. And because I believe Gerrit Cole is terrible in Boston. He has been. He's got a career of being terrible in Boston. So it all worked out for who I believe the Rays wanted to see in the first place.
Yeah, I don't put as much stock in the home road situation. I mean, this team, it felt like last night that they were just fooling us, that they'd been dead for a long time. They were just
showed it on
us.
Saturday, G. I'm telling you.
They were just dead. They were a zombie. They were the Walking Dead. It was just a matter of time. And just the one thing I will say is that the energy of Fenway seemed to translate into the Red Sox early on in that 100%. Game, especially. I mean, and then Eovaldi stepped up. He's someone that we hadn't seen really pitch that good since 2018, and here he was again. And the Yankees, this is the first time, because I did believe going into this game, especially with J.D. Martinez out, and the fact that the Yankees bullpen had been so good, that the Yankees were the better team going into the game. This is the first time I felt like they were the better team and lost in the playoffs in the last couple of years. But it keeps getting worse. You go from 2019 ALCS loss to Houston to last year, and some people want to toss it away. I don't necessarily toss it away completely. But last year you lose in the ALDS to the Rays, and then this year you lose in the wild card game to the Red Sox.
It's just getting worse.
It gets worse every year.
Yes.
And I know I heard Jerry play in the warm-up show a clip of Susan Waldman saying, if you expect to bring back this same type of team and this same type of roster offensively and expect it to be different, then you're just not paying attention. I mean, she was ripping into them a little bit, and that's going to be the task. Now, I don't feel like there's going to be major changes at the general manager or the manager right now. I don't feel like the Yankees are going to do that. Now, I could be totally wrong, but I just feel like what Yankee fans want and look at in this organization is totally different than what the Yankees are looking at. And I don't know that Aaron Boone is going, like he's got his head in the guillotine this morning. I don't know. Because
one thing, he made the right decision last night, yanking Cole out of the
he absolutely did.
He gave him a little bit of rope.
Yeah.
And then he said, you know what? You're out. You're done. I was wondering if he was going to have somebody up starting the second inning, and then Holmes came in and basically rescued him.
Yeah, I mean, and he's not even the issue with the team. It's not.
Well, he ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't.
Like Stanton's not going anywhere.
Right, and nor should he. I mean, basically what you're looking at is a team that needs to get better in the rotation again. They're going to go out and sign a shortstop somewhere. Maybe they trade Gleyber Torres. They're not trading Aaron Judge. There's absolutely no way that they're trading Aaron Judge. Aaron Hicks is going to come back. They're going to have to upgrade a catcher and then figure out some of these infield positions, but that's what I think they're going to do.
Well, I think they're going to. What are they doing at first base? So they're going to keep Rizzo.
I mean, I think it's a strong possibility, yes. But then, I mean, you're spending a lot of money, though, and this is a team that's been reluctant to go over the luxury tax threshold. So It's going to be an interesting offseason, but it's going to be Brian Cashman who's doing it, and it's going to be Aaron Boone that's going to be there, and we're going to see if the Yankees say, screw it, we've had enough of this. Let's give Judge's extension. Let's sign Baez or Story. Let's bring back Rizzo. Let's sign another pitcher. But something has to change. I think if there's one guy, young guy that you trade to try to upgrade the roster somewhere else, it's Gleyber Torres.
Well, I would also say that I wonder whether or not he deserves to be here after that Saturday debacle.
Yeah, it's a fair question.
I told, again, I'm going to go back to what we were talking about before the weekend, before the week of Boston and Toronto. I told you that I felt like they had to go 2 out of 3 in both of those series. That Friday night game against Tampa, they lose the game 4-3. Then they have to come back. So losing that game, you have no wiggle room. You have to take the next 2 games. You have to. And that Saturday performance, and with Gleyber Torres jogging out of the batter's box on a pass ball on a strike 3, I mean, just tells you all you need to know. That They may have all the highest hopes in the world for that guy, and maybe he becomes a great player someday. But that look in that uniform under those circumstances is just like it is like blasphemy, man. You just can't have that happen. And then, of course, you have your $300 million pitcher come out who hasn't been pitching well at all in September and just absolutely fall right on his face. I could sit here and I could point to Gallo, I could point to Torres, I could point to Gerrit Cole. I mean, there are other guys that really stepped up this year. I think Aaron Judge stepped up this year. Giancarlo Stanton turned out to be a money player.
Oh, I mean, I got so much respect for him at this point. I know we made fun of him a lot, but in some of the struggles he had, but to go through
the last 2 years, he's been great.
I mean, how many guys have come to New York and just been crippled by the pressure when they don't perform right away? And he fought through it. It never got to him. He never took on the fans. He never lost his cool. Never did anything. And now he's a weapon. You saw him last night. I mean, he was a complete. Now, I mean, if he hits 3 home runs as opposed to the 1 home run, maybe we're talking about the Yankees moving on.
Reggie Jackson moment, right?
We're talking about feet, just a couple of feet in 2 different instances.
It's unbelievable.
Man, but all the respect in the world to that guy, seriously, and he deserves.
He's the prime example of how a big-time athlete who comes from somewhere else, is not a homegrown athlete like a Michael Conforto or a Aaron Judge, but a big-time athlete who did it somewhere else and got paid, withstood all the negativity around him. And the last 2 years, and especially this year, and especially the second half of this year, he has been amazing. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they put him out in left field. And he actually got to play a little bit of baseball.
Yeah,
because baseball players like playing baseball. And I'm sure he likes playing baseball. And I'm sure that had something to do with it. And then they finally figured out that Gleyber Torres is not a shortstop and put him at second base. But you're right, there's going to be a lot of questions here. And how much money are they going to spend? What is it going to look like? And if there is a guy, honestly, on this team that really does have a set of stones that should be the captain, it should be Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
He went over and said something to Gleyber Torres on Saturday. He's the guy that has said something in this locker room throughout this year when the Yankees hadn't been playing well. He seems to be the face of the franchise. And you know what? If I'm a Yankee fan, I want that guy around here for a long time. I want to see him play baseball.
You can't get rid of him. No. I know that that sometimes comes up because he's going to command such a huge salary.
I don't care.
Cannot get rid of that guy.
That's the guy that I want to pay to go and see.
Right, exactly. You cannot get rid of him.
There are a couple of guys that they have that you want to pay and go to see, and I think Stanton and Judge in the lineup together are 2 of those guys. There's no question about it. But I also say that the whole late, like the pitcher that gets the big contract when he's late in his career is always a cautionary tale to me.
Yeah, no, and there's many examples to back up that point.
Oh, my God, and this is one right here. It just goes to show you couldn't make it through an entire season.
He had a very good regular season, but things definitely changed.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.